What's going on, Badger fans? Excited for this one. We get a big time member of the 24 class joining us today. We're going to talk about it next on Locked On Badgers. Let's go.
You are Locked On Badgers, your daily podcast on the Wisconsin Badgers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's going on, Badger fans? Welcome to Locked On Badgers, your team every day. Really excited to have you here. We're just going to jump into it because we're not going to waste any time with the guy we got on. We got Dillan Johnson joining us. Thank you so much for jumping on the show, man. Really do appreciate it. Four-star defensive lineman coming out of Illinois, incredible wrestler, number 6 player in the state of Illinois. I want to start here, man. Congratulations.
Thank you.
What did you get better at specifically this senior year for the football side?
Senior year, I was really focusing on my stance and just making sure I fire out and get a good blowback on the line. Past couple of years, that's been a bit off. So me and my dad, we've just been really just drilling the fundamentals this year in football. He just wanted to make sure that I had a good base going into college.
And you said one of the things that you've really been working on is firing out your stance. Do you think that from a production standpoint that showed itself this year?
Yeah, definitely. I think as the year got on, I got quicker and quicker, and I got more of that blowback that I need.
From a football standpoint, it felt like I did a show recently. I said I think you're one of the most underrated prospects in the class. It feels
Thank you.
You became a 4-star in 247, but it feels like people still maybe don't look at you as having the same upside. And I think with the wrestling background and your explosiveness, I think there's a ton of upside there. Do you feel like you got slept on a little bit in the recruiting sense?
Not really. With me being so busy with football and wrestling, I didn't pay attention to too much with how the recruiting world was viewing me. But I mean, I got recruited by Wisconsin, so at the end of the day, I'm happy with what I got. I don't really care too much about how big I got or whatnot. Me and my dad's goal was originally just to get a degree and play somewhere for football. So we're happy with what we got.
Where you still need to get a little bit. I mean, everybody continues growing every day, right? What is your next goal as a defense lineman to get better at?
Definitely keep improving, get the fundamentals down, but I would like to improve my pass rush game. I know Coach Scruggs knows a bunch about that, and he's going to help me out with that.
Is there anything specifically with your pass rush game? Is it hand placement? Is it?
I would say a little bit of everything, but mainly probably getting a good solid move or two down to use if I got a quick dude, what to do with him, or if I got someone that's really strong.
Talk to me a little bit about wrestling side. So 3-time state champ, one of the best wrestlers in the country. How does that translate to football for you?
It translates pretty well with just conditioning, coordination, knowing how to move my body, and just I feel overall just being able to deal with pressure. If I have 2 dudes on me, I can kind of feel that pressure a bit better than if I hadn't been a wrestler.
Obviously, Coach Fickle, tremendous high school wrestler. One of the questions we had here, people knew you were going to come on, so they had some questions for you. Could you take Coach Fick in his prime?
Definitely. 100%, yes.
I love it. He watches this show. He's going to see that.
Oh, my bad, Coach.
No, I'm just kidding. I don't know if he does or not. I do want to ask you this, though. That must have been a great way for you to kind of connect on something outside of football.
Oh, yeah, it was fun. I think it was I think it was the first thing we talked about, actually. We just talked about wrestling, different moves used to hit, a sprawl, a shot, and different things like that.
Do you ever go back and watch clips of him?
No, I haven't got a chance to.
They may not exist. I don't know. That's a long time ago.
I would love to. I would love to see him wrestling.
And I got a bunch of questions here. I want to just ask one of them, but they're all kind of related. This is from Try Glassing. How is wrestling and football going to work together for you?
We actually haven't had much time to talk about how it's going to work. I know they mentioned, I think a little bit, that it's going to be a transition period, maybe at the end of fall, winter, I would start doing some wrestling workouts or in that spring season split up, but we haven't gotten too much into the details. I think that we'll start talking about that. I show up, I report sometime in June, so I think we'll probably talk about it at least sometime between now and then.
And then another thing Coach Fickle had mentioned with wrestlers is there's obviously leverage, there's conditioning. But one of the things he said about wrestlers and how they translate to football that I thought was interesting was there's just a competitiveness with wrestlers. Is that something that you see that kind of maybe makes you a little different?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Wrestling is an individual sport, so there's a different level of competitiveness. For example, if you lose a match, you can't Like, there's no escaping it. Like, you lost the match. There's no, like, you can't say, oh, it's because of this or this. Like, no, you lost the match. So you kind of got to have a different level of accountability. And I think that just translates, like, a different level of competition because, like, when you step on the mat, it's just you. It's not like, oh, I got all these dudes with me. It's just you out there. It's like you got to be the one pushing every single second of the match.
That's a great point because as a defensive lineman, I mean, you're not going to hide from the film, but to a casual fan, they may not see you missing that assignment.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. What about a couple more questions here I want to get into? What about Wisconsin's scheme? This is from a guy named Probst. How do you think you're going to fit into that scheme, that Tressel Scruggs scheme?
I know that right now they're seeing me as like the nose player. I think maybe like a 3-tech. Well, I think for the most part, I think we haven't talked too much about it, but I think I'll be primarily right there in the middle of like the down lineman being the nose and whatnot.
What is your goals year one?
Just to transition from high school to football and just, take that jump from being a high school football player to being a college football player.
Teammates or commits you're most excited to play with? This is from Jared.
I actually don't know many of the guys. I know Hank Weber, I believe that's his name, is the other D-line commit. So I'm looking forward to getting to meet him, but I honestly don't know many of the kids in my class.
Talk to me a little bit about Coach Scruggs. How is he different than maybe some of the other defensive line? You're lighting up. I love this.
Yeah, I love Coach Scruggs. He's just straightforward. He'll tell you straight out. He'll tell you how it is. Like if you're doing good, like you're doing good. That's what you got to do. If you're doing bad, you're like, hey, knucklehead, get your head in the game. And I just love the dude. He's a funny guy, and I just like how he's honest about it. He's not gonna sit there and sugarcoat it. He's gonna tell you how it is, and he's just gonna get you in and get your work done.
What kind of coaches work best for you? Because there's coaches that are a little more low key. There's coaches that get in your face. What do you respond best to?
Probably more. I mean, football. There's gonna be high energy coaches. Like that's how football is. So that doesn't bother me at all. But like for the most part, like, the coach just tells me, "Hey, I need you to do this." I'm like, "All right, coach, I got it." If it's just something just simple like that, like, "Hey, you need to do this," then I'm fine with that type of coaching style. I think that works best for me and my personality. If it's just, "Hey, let's get this work done. We got to do this.
Love it. What any teams in particular you're excited to play during your time at Big Ten?
No one like in particular that I'm looking forward to. Again, it's like my first year, so I don't know how many reps I'm gonna get. I'm just kind of looking forward to like the whole first year overall. I just want to kind of really see like what college football really is because I've watched my brothers, I've watched their games, I've watched them play at Missouri, at Mizzou, and Eastern Michigan. But I just kind of want to see like what's it really like to be like on the sidelines and that experience and whatnot.
So you were committed to Northwestern, opened it back up, committed to Wisconsin. When you opened it back up, was it always probably going to be Wisconsin, or was there other schools that you were looking at there?
It was pretty much Wisconsin. Like I can't remember exactly. Like we opened it back up. I think it was like a Wednesday. Then we flipped. I think the next day. So it was pretty much going to be Wisconsin straight off the bat.
What about Wisconsin felt so comfortable?
I mean, to be honest, like they had everything that we wanted, like great school, great coaches, great team going on, a great group of coaches and everything. My dad really liked the D-line coach. He really trusted the program over there. He felt good about it. There's also the wrestling piece and everything going on. So for the most part, they checked all the boxes, as you could say.
And I know academics is a big deal. Do you have any idea what your major would be or what you're looking at?
I'm planning on majoring in business. I think I want to focus more on like the investing and stock side of it. And then for a minor, I'm not too sure yet, maybe psychology or something in that area.
That's awesome. Kind of a lightning round here. You ready for a couple quick fire questions?
Yeah.
All right. This is what is your comfort food? When you got to eat something to feel better, where do you go?
There's a place called Hong Kong Cuisine near my house. I just get chicken fried rice and some sesame chicken. Usually cheers me up.
Love it. Ice fishing, yay or nay?
No ice fishing. I don't like the cold. Nope.
I love it. Here's one hidden talent, something outside of athletics.
I guess I'm pretty good at word games, like word searches and all that.
Biggest role model.
I'll be honest. I probably have to say my dad and my oldest brother Eric. They've really set the tone of what I got to be like as an athlete.
When you say set the tone, like what specifically did you get from them? Is it a work ethic?
Just kind of like what to expect. Like they were like the image of an athlete. It's hard to explain, but it's kind of like it's like the first athlete I guess like I met was like my dad, and I got to see all the stuff like he did. Like I can remember him playing for like in the XFL a little bit when I was little. So like I got to see him play in the field a little bit. And then of course I grew up watching my brother, play football, get recruited, go to Missouri State and all that. So it's just kind of like that was like my example of what like an athlete does.
You mentioned your dad working with you a little bit over this last year, get a little better, a little quicker in your pass rush, a little more disruptive. What specifically were you guys doing?
He just drilled us straight down to fundamentals, making sure I had a good stance, good first punch, getting blowback, that my eyes are in the right place, making sure that my hands weren't flailing out. They were like right there on the shoulder. So he just really he didn't get into like advanced stuff because again, it's like we only have one season. You don't have time for everything in the world, but he just hunkered down the basics basically.
What do you want your legacy to be at Wisconsin in 3 or 4 years, whenever you're done?
Man, I don't know. I think I want it to be something that I can look back on and be like, you know what, I'm proud of this. I put the work in, I did the best I can, and yeah, I want it to be something that I can look back on and like smile.
That's awesome. Message for Badger fans before I know you have your dad's getting a haircut pretty soon. We can't stay too long, but what is a message for Badger fans that you have?
Thank you for having me, and I promise I'll work my butt off.
That's awesome, man. He is Dillan Johnson, defensive tackle defensive lineman coming into the 24 class out of Illinois. Dillan, we got your Twitter down there. Is there anywhere else people can follow your journey or follow what you got going on?
Twitter's the best place for me to follow me.
He is Dillan Johnson. Thank you so much for jumping on the show, man.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate it. Yep,
No
on
problem.
Wisconsin, and we'll talk later.